everybody, to another episode of The Dry Truth. I am your host, Brandon Webb. Thank you for joining us again today. Today we are going to be talking through episode number 7. Man, it seems like it's going fast. We're already at number 7, and just yesterday I was starting on episode number 1. So if you haven't listened to episodes 1 through 6, please do so. There's some good information out there for anyone trying to live a sober life, people that are living with people that are living a sober life, just tips in general for the humanity everybody out there just to listen to and know what people are going through that are in sobriety or live in sobriety or working through those challenges in their life. Everybody's got something, and so I hope that we can all respect each other in this one, and hopefully this will shed some light out there for you if you're not practicing sobriety, for people that are practicing sobriety. So go out there and have a listen to episodes 1 through 6. You'll find it interesting. We do some beer reviews as well. Episode 6 was about slowing it down, taking time to relax, thinking about yourself. We reviewed Sam Adams, so that's just Sam Adams Just the Haze. That's a really good beer out right now, NA beer. And so have a listen to that. Thank you to our partners out there. Before I jump into episode 7, I do want to just remind everybody we have multiple platforms that we are listening on. You can go out there and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We just got approved today for Pandora, which was exciting. I've been waiting on that one. So Amazon, y'all need to step it up and get us on Alexa and Amazon Music. Finalize those, Stitcher and several other guys out there, iHeartRadio, that have us listed as well. So don't forget to tune in from your favorite place. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube if you're watching there. That's how we can continue to be out there and talking to folks. As I've mentioned before, we are trying to put together a panel of tasters. If you would like to email me at thedrytruth00@gmail.com, thedrytruth00@gmail.com. We're looking for a panel of testers that want to try some NA beers and give feedback over Zoom so that we can put that on YouTube and also on the podcast and share that for everybody to enjoy. So if you're interested, email me and we'll get you set up. I want to give a big shout out to Ezra. Last week I botched up his name in episode 6 several times. Ezra, I'm sorry. Ezra is with NA Brews. He is the founder, or Na Brews as they call it, nabrews.com. He is just a nice guy, great guy, living the dream there with his own business. I want to give him a big shout out for bearing with me through that. And Ezra, we really appreciate everything you're doing. Ezra, for all of our listeners that are out there, has given us a promo code as well. That promo code is DryTruth10. That's DryTruth10. If you use that at your checkout, you'll get a 10% discount on your order from him. He's shipping nationwide. He has Sam Adams Just the Haze. He's got several of the other beers that we've featured and reviewed here on the podcast and on YouTube. So get out there, order some beers, and check out my buddy Ezra. He's doing good things for the sober community. Without further ado, let's jump into episode number 7, which we are going to entitle Trusting Your Sobriety. Okay? I know that sounds funny. That's an odd topic. What do you mean, Brandon, trust your sobriety? I think we all have, I'm just going to jump into it. I think we all have a little conscience that's living inside of us, okay? Maybe you haven't used it in a long time. Maybe you need to find that conscience. But what I mean by that is you can feel that intuition of what is good for me and what is not good for me, okay? I had this come up recently, just just the other day. I have a lot of friends that I still hang out with, and we have ideas and deals that come up, and we want to put them together and work on different things. And um, there are times where I have to say, probably not something I need to do. Your friends call you and they want to get together at uh, 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you're going to somewhere that could probably turn into a drinking fest. Old days drinking festival. Um, Not that you yourself want that to happen, but your friends and the crowd that maybe you used to hang out with, just they're not fully understanding of what you deal with on a daily basis, or that inner being that you have to control and try to manage. You can't control it. Let me back up. You manage it. It's manageable. We all try to manage that inner self. So your conscience can tell you when uh, that's not a good idea, Brandon. Let's not do that. And so trust that. Trust your instinct on that. I have that happen to me very often. And sometimes I'm put in a pickle where I just have to go to my wife and say, I want this to happen so bad. I want to do these things, but I have to tell myself, and then she reassures me that, I want you to go too, but you probably don't need to do that. That is there another time or place where that could occur? And that's what I try to do is I deflect it to back to those folks. Man, look, I've got family. Evenings are tough for me. Let's try to do a lunch. Let's try to put something together that's in the middle of the day. That way, I'm a lot less likely to go out and go on a bender in the middle of the afternoon than we are at 7 o'clock at night. And I know that everybody says, well, yeah, you can do it anytime, but it's a lot harder. It really is. If you tell somebody at lunch, you go have lunch at 11 o'clock in the middle of the day, you got to go back to work. You got family coming home later that day, kids. Or maybe even if you're single, it's hard to just leave and go do that in the middle of the day. If that's not going to work for you, if you find another reason, please email me and let me know. I'd like to know how you would combat middle of the day drinking. But um, without going down that rabbit hole, I want to stay on topic and just say that, think about what are good decisions for you in your life as far as activities that you plan, things that come up on the spur of the moment. So when those things happen for me, I mentioned that I go to my wife. Sometimes I go to a good friend of mine, or I'll go to a family member and ask those. So it's not always the same person. It is nice to have consistency and go to the same person, but sometimes they're not available. So you have to get feel from other people. But the people that I go to know what I'm going through and know the struggles that I deal with. So I always make sure that I go to somebody that understands what I'm dealing with, because if you just go to somebody that doesn't have a clue, they see nothing wrong with that, right? Or they don't understand maybe the severity of maybe some of the things that you deal with. So always make sure that uh, trust your conscience, trust your intuition, your that being inside of you that says maybe this is bad, maybe this is good. They got the devil on their left shoulder and the angel on the right. Sometimes. So um, listen to yourself. If you're having trouble with that, find a partner or a buddy or a sober coach or somebody that can work with you to be that partner. When you text them, when you call them, they're there for you, and they're giving you that feedback or that advice, or they're there to come over. I mean, there's nothing there. I've had that too. Like, people want me to come do something. I'm just itching to get out the house. COVID has been, a thing. We can't get out the house, couldn't do anything. So you just try to have somebody over just to get some kind of interaction. Man, look, I can't go, but I'm gonna call another friend that will come over and have a NA beer with me or smoke a cigar or something, just so I can talk to another person and enjoy an afternoon and get my mind off of not being able to do what I initially wanted to do. So um, be thinking of that. Find that coach if you haven't. Find that buddy system. I say buddy, and if you've ever watched the old Disney movie, there's the body system. So it's going off in my head, and I'm laughing. So staying on topic is hard for me sometimes. But think about that buddy system. And who your partner can be. There's an old joke out there that the Baptist have out there, who's going to drink with a Baptist, another Baptist. So what has to happen in our world is who's going to drink with another sober guy, and that's a sober guy. So find your buddy or somebody that you trust that can come over and hang out with you and just enjoy an afternoon when you need to be focused on your conscience and knowing that you're doing the right thing. That's what I've got. That's my rant for this week. If you're listening to this and you are not practicing sobriety, please think about those people that are and know that sometimes the struggle is out. It is a thing that is managed through a lot of folks, people who realize it, and be proud of them for realizing it and that they're trying to do good for themselves. Nobody is perfect. I want to say that in these chats that I'm doing. People struggle through being sober. People mess up. I spent the week looking at trying to find people that are out there in the community that are sober, living sober, and everything you read, people go through ups and downs. So when somebody messes up, if you're listening to this, be there for them. Be there and help pull them back up. Anger isn't always the way to deal with that. Be there in a loving manner for those folks, because we all have struggles that we deal with. Mine is sobriety. I want to be sober. I try every day to do that. The other people out there, they deal with food addictions, or they deal with other addictions that are out there. So when they fall, you just have to love them, feel for them, pull them back in, rein them in, and be proud of them and help them get focused back on what they need to be focused on, right on that right path. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you all for listening and continue to listen to us. We're going to jump right into the beer review here in just a minute. But I do want to also invite you guys to email me for another topic. Okay. I'm trying to expand our podcast here. So if you have ideas, or if you have friends that you've talked to and you're giving this out to them and they say, man, that's a great idea. I've been sober for 30 years, or I've been sober for 15 years, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to be that long. It could be a year or 6 months, whatever. And they want to tell their story. If they want to tell their story, I want them to have a platform to do that through. So have them email me at thedrytruth00@gmail.com. I'd like to go through some of those and talk to some of those people that are comfortable and see if we can have them on the Dry Truth to spend a few minutes just talking about tips, tricks, what they do, how they got there. If they want to go that into detail, if they don't, fine. It's up to them. So if you're listening and you would like to do that, I'd love to have you on the Dry Truth and get some feedback from you guys in person. So if you're not comfortable with it and you just want to give me some pointers, feel free to do that as well, things that you've encountered. So always open book here at the Dry Truth. We want to invite everybody. This is a community that we want to grow, and I hope that you guys can help me be a part of that and grow this. So without further ado, my beer this week is a humble beer. It comes from a humble beginning. It is almost 200 years old, I believe, and it's been through world wars, and it's been through mergers, and it's about to be in my glass in just a minute. But the beer is Penn's Best. And everybody just laughed. I know you're thinking I'm turning the podcast off, but hear me out. We've reviewed a lot of good beers. We've reviewed a lot of craft NA beers, and that's the hot thing right now. But we also need to have those beers that are our everyday drinking on the boat, sitting on the beach, riding down the road, NA beers that you can take and guzzle 3 or 4 of them down and just chug them if you want to. If you want to shotgun them with your friends, if you want to drink half and throw it in the trash, it's cost effective and you don't care. Okay, so Penn's Best is one of the beers that I have found when I was working out in Texas. HEB sells it out in Texas. Total Wine sells it. I think Nah Brews carries it. I know there's some other websites and stores that have it. It's a pretty popular one. Penn's Best is it's manufactured now by I've got the brewery here on my mind. It is out of Rochester, New York. It's Genesis. Genesis Brewing now owns the Coke Brewing Company. It was uh, not Jim Coke, but the other Koch brother, Fred. Fred Koch is, I don't know if they're brothers, but Fred is the one that had Fred Koch Brewing Company. He sold it in 1983 to Genesis Brewing, and now, from everything that I can find online, it's brewed by Genesis under the Fred Koch Brewery on the label. But it is a lager. It's very light. It's crisp. I've had so many of them because I buy it by the case. Okay, it's very cheap. It is. It's a good drink. It's something, like I say, that I can sit on the boat and drink all day long. So without further ado, here is Penn's Best NA beer. If you could see that, I'm smiling big because it really is one of my favorite cheap NA beers. Okay, Penn's Best. If you get a shot of that, I'm gonna roll it around for you there. All right, Penn's Best, non-alcoholic. It is a malt beverage. It says it is smooth and refreshing. It's brewed out of Rochester, North Carolina. Fred Koch Brewing Company. Again, I think it's made by Genesis from everything I can find. By the way, Fred Koch and Jim Koch are not related. This is not a Sam Adams beer. I am drinking it in a Sam Adams glass because, as you learned last week, I'm a huge fan of them. I really love the Just the Haze that's out there. So I decided this week I'm going to drink out of a Sam Adams glass. If you can hear that, we've got a pour going on here with the Penn's Best. It's a basic beer. I haven't taken a sip out of this one yet to give you any flavors yet, but you know, it's a basic B beer. It's nothing fancy. It's something that tastes like beer. And it's like the beer that your grandma and grandpa drank. It could have a pull tab on it. It is that kind of beer. Uh, I would I would I'm going to take a drink and I'm going to tell you some more. Just bear with me a second. Yep, it's the same as I remember it. It's almost like a natural light. Okay, if you've ever had natural light, it even kind of smells like a natural light. It doesn't have much smell, but it smells like that stinky lager beer that you would find in Cocktail and Dream when Tom Cruise is sitting at the bar with his uncle. That beer that he pours in that glass, it's that beer. It's just nothing frill. It's good. I'm giving them a good review. Don't dog me on this review. It is a good beer. I really like it, but it's not fancy. It's just the one that you want to have because you're having a beer. You feel like you're drinking a beer. If you see it on the YouTube channel, it's a dang good looking beer. It's got great color, golden, very, very light golden, perfect lager look, bubbly head, crisp flavor. There's no aftertaste. That's one of the things that I think it makes it better than an O'Doul's for sure. It's definitely a step above that in my opinion. O'Doul's I'm not a big fan of O'Doul's by far, but um, the the Pins, it just there's no aftertaste. It's crisp. It reminds me again of a natty light, of a natural light. It's just that kind of beer. So if you're out and about and you're looking for that beer that you just want to drink a ton of, you're going to a beach party, you're going out on the boat and you need to get a case, you're going on a hike, or you're just going to do something outside that's hot, I would suggest the Penn's Best NA beer. It's the one that's going to get you through the day, and then it's going to be the one that can carry you to when you can get an excellent craft NA beer like some of the other ones we've reviewed. It's also good if you've drank 3 or 4 craft ones and you want to swap to something. I try to swap to one of these guys that are lighter and crisp, like you would if you were normally drinking in a bar, or that's how I would typically do it. So in my selection of beers in my fridge, I carry a lot of these Penn's Best. They're light, crisp, cold. They taste good. No after flavor. Get you some while you can before the whole world comes to an end. I'm just kidding. No, they're good. Try them out, and remember to email us at thedrytruth00 with suggestions, tips, tricks, what we're doing good, what we're doing bad. If I'm ranting too much, tell me. I'm sorry if I am. Shout out to everybody that's listening. I saw we've got more listeners in the UK and in Europe this week, so thank y'all for the downloads. Thank y'all for the shares. Continue to keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram and all the podcast platforms. Thank you all. Have a great week.